G'day. There was a bit that went on today out at the track for Media Day at the 2021 Spanish GP. Daniel Ricciardo was in good spirits, and I'll tell you more in just a moment. It was a beautiful day to be in Barcelona today. Reasonably clear skies, lots of sun, about 27 degrees, and a lot of the drivers went on their track walks, including Daniel Ricciardo. He went on a track ride, took a bicycle around the track. I saw him at, I think this is turn 7, and he'd actually got off his bike and was inspecting in great detail this new curbing that's been installed. At this section of the track, the cars are going uphill, so the front nose may actually touch these sausage curbs and be of some concern to the drivers. And Daniel took some time, I guess probably 4 or 5 minutes, which is good for us photographically because we get a couple of different angles, and then he took off on his bicycle on his lap around the Circuit de Catalunya. Earlier in the day though, Daniel... Yeah, we've moved out into the outdoor dining area here at the Hotel Barcelona 1882, which is just a glorious place. Daniel came in one of his own design shirts, and these look pretty cool. I think they're available on his website. In the press conference, he was teamed up with Lewis Hamilton and was quite amusing. He did admit he had to pull his finger out, and he'll be doing some finger pulling, I'm sure, this weekend, hoping to do a little bit better than 9th as he was at the last race. Both of the Ferrari drivers arrived in Ferraris, a red one for Carlos and a blue one for Charles. I think somebody might have even delivered a shirt out to Carlos in the car because he was quite some time getting out of the car and probably got changed inside the car. Speaking of cars, Lando Norris arrived in this McLaren 720S along with his trainer John Malvin, and this is a convertible. It is magnificent looking, and this is the sort of stuff that I think drivers who drive for McLaren need to be rolling up in. Very impressive. When he came in, I did notice he was wearing his shoes fashionably untied, and he had on a New York cap, which made it a bit tricky photographing him because it was quite dark in the face. He is starting to be a bit more adventurous in his clothing, I think. Not quite as adventurous as the current world champion Lewis Hamilton. Lewis stood out today. He was in a pair of overalls, and as he has a want to do, and perhaps it's the fashion, you would know better than me, only one strap was done up. Now, the thing was, I didn't see him come in because I went out and photographed track walks because I thought I can get 10 or 15 different drivers out there rather than hang around for one of Lewis. But there was a bit of activity in the paddock, and I'll digress. I'll tell you that the paddock is pretty good here in Barcelona because we are actually in the media centre on the first level. So we can look down and shoot into the paddock from the first level, and these photographers here got a long shot right down the paddock, and also they can shoot down into the media pen where the drivers go and get interviewed. But the drivers actually had to come up the stairs and go to another room where they were doing some video interviews. So we had this great access to drivers that we haven't had, certainly in the first 3 races. Getting back to Lewis, I did see him head out into the paddock to do an interview, and then there was a whole host of photographers hanging around hoping for a shot, but he went straight back in to the Mercedes hospitality suite. So I went back in and edited some photos, and then I thought, I'll just go out now and have a look. I walked out, and there's all these photographers ready for Lewis to come down the stairs. Now, I can't help but think this was somewhat choreographed because there was a lot of photographers there who knew what was going on. Once I took up my position, I only had to wait 3 or so minutes, and he came down the stairs in this rather interesting outfit. And maybe someone in the comments can put who makes that particular outfit. To me, it sort of looked a bit like Bape, but you would know more than me, I'm certain of that. It is funny though with Lewis, sometimes he wants to be photographed, like today, no problem at all. Whereas if you go back to the last race, he was open about it and said, I really didn't want to see you guys, referring to photographers. But today, he was on song and was happy to be photographed. If you're travelling in a foreign country where you don't speak the language, and you're staying at a good hotel where they do speak your language, make sure you make a note of the phone number of your hotel and use them as a translator if you get into trouble. The other advantage of the paddock is because we're on the first level, we see into the first level of the motorhomes. And I saw Sergio Perez having a meeting probably about 10 metres away from me, where I was, out on the back patio of his motorhome, and I could easily photograph him there. And we're socially distanced On the track walk, I found Lando Norris at turn 10. Now, this is the turn that's been changed, and he was actually testing the traction with his feet to see what it was like, and spent a good couple of minutes there having a look. And I imagine all of the drivers who track walked spent some time at that particular corner, because it is a lot different to what it was last year. Interestingly, I saw Carlos Sainz sign an autograph. Now, that's a rare thing, and the value of F1 drivers' autographs have gone up because there are so few being signed because of COVID. Now, Nikita Mazepin did his track walk today, and there were a dozen of them in the group. That's a lot of people to finish last. So obviously they're looking to improve things, and the two out here on the right aren't actually Haas crew. They are from Netflix, who are embedded with the team this week. So when you watch Netflix Drive to Survive next year, you can expect to see from the Spanish GP some content from the Haas crew. Now, in the media centre, we have a view straight out over the track, and we are positioned, I think that is the finish line. Yeah, and underneath us, all the cars throughout the day come for scrutineering. So it's like a very expensive car park. We can shoot directly down and see into these cars from where we are. While I was out walking the track, I thought I'd bring a couple of things to your attention here. This is at the start-finish line. This little cutout here in the concrete barrier houses some sort of sensor that fires a beam across the track, and that's what they use, I gather, for lap times. For those of you who are new to the sport, you may not know how to tell one car from the other in a team. Seasoned F1 people will know this, but on the top of the car, this little device here is either black or it's got some fluoro tape on it. The fluoro tape is on there to indicate the second driver of the team, and not necessarily the second best driver. It's obviously there are two drivers and you need to distinguish between the two. And that yellow tape is on the top and on the sides. But that also houses a camera, once again a very small camera. On the top level of the grandstand, there's this huge big vinyl sign with photos of all of the drivers, and it runs the whole length of the stand. So I took, as I was looking at it, the left-hand section of 10 drivers, and from track height, this is what they look like. And as you can see, all these faces have been horribly stretched because of the angle that I'm looking at it. If you were looking at it at a perpendicular angle, it would look perfect. Also out on the track are these boards, which are swung open at probably 90 degrees, maybe a little bit less, come race day, and that's so each driver knows which position to take when they're on the grid. Now, they're only on one side of the grid in Barcelona, the other side they don't have them. And when the race starts, those boards are folded back so that they are not a danger. This is what the setup for the podium looked like today. There's a bit of work still to be done on that. I had to go and get a COVID test, and there is COVID testing facilities at the track. I think this was my 10th test. It's done very quickly, and I get my results probably tomorrow morning, and it should come back negative. Unlike the result for the poor boys from Ziggo Sports, Jack and one of the cameramen got COVID at the last race. Until they get the negative test, they are holed up in a hotel there and just have to bide their time. I came across an interesting chap on my track walk. This is Moritz Steidl. Now, he's a journalist from Austria. He's embedded this week with AlphaTauri by the key accounts manager at AlphaTauri, who is Yuki, not Yuki Tsunoda, Yuki Motomoro. Pretty interesting fella, Moritz, too, bit of a character. I think he might be very good for my Men of the Paddock post come Tuesday next week, and Women of the Paddock post goes up on Monday. And I can tell you it's Federica Maslin's birthday tomorrow, if you're watching this on the day I released it. If not, it is, what date? Let me have a look. The 7th of May. This is the time when you get to click the like button and the subscribe button for those of you who have not converted yet. Become a member and get special privileges as well. There's a join button, or go to the link in the description below. You'll find all of my digital images at prostarpics.com. My F1 driver books, they're available from kimillman.com. And for my best pics live from the track and during the week, you can head to Instagram and search at Kim Illman. Thanks for watching, and stay passionate. Just quickly, come with me here. This is the Hotel 1882. These ladies are doing choral singing. Have a look at this. And I can't go in there because there's quite a lot of them. Can you see in there? Hang on.